On July 22nd, 2018, in the heart of Los Angeles, California, a tragic incident unfolded that would shock the city. That night, a young woman, Olivia Harris, met a wealthy real estate mogul, Richard Langley, through an exclusive dating club. Their night began at a luxury hotel in Beverly Hills, where they had drinks before moving to his private penthouse, a lavish apartment on the 30th floor, overlooking the LA skyline. But by sunrise, Olivia was dead. Her last sign of life? A disturbing text message sent to a friend via WhatsApp. "Something feels off. I think he bought something dangerous. How do I get out of here?" That message was the last time anyone heard from her. A disturbing discovery. At 6:50 a.m. the next morning, emergency services received a 911 call from Richard Langley himself. "Something's wrong. She won't wake up." When paramedics arrived at the penthouse, they found Olivia lifeless in Langley's bedroom. The crime scene was strangely pristine. No signs of struggle, no obvious wounds. But when forensic teams conducted an autopsy, the results were chilling. Toxic levels of a powerful drug were found in her system, 100 times the lethal dose. Her lungs contained traces of alcohol and sedatives, suggesting she had been unknowingly drugged. Langley's hair samples tested positive for long-term drug use. Despite all this, Langley denied everything. "I had nothing to do with this. She must have brought the drugs herself," he claimed. But something didn't add up. Who was Richard Langley? At 61 years old, Richard Langley was a well-known figure in Los Angeles' real estate scene. He wasn't just any businessman. He had deep connections with organized crime groups. For years, he specialized in dealing with high-risk properties, many linked to money laundering operations. Some called him the fixer, a man who could make problems disappear. But Langley wasn't always in the shadows. After turning 60, he shocked many by enrolling in law school, earning a degree in taxation and finance. Despite his dark connections, he legally amassed a fortune and lived in a luxurious mansion in one of LA's most exclusive neighborhoods. However, beneath the surface, there was another side to him. In 2015, he joined an elite dating club, seeking relationships with younger women. Over the years, he had multiple transactional relationships, exchanging large sums of money for companionship. And in November 2016, he met Olivia. They had met 3 times before under similar circumstances. But their fourth meeting on July 22nd, 2018, ended in death. A fatal night. According to security footage, at 11:50 a.m., Langley picked up Olivia from a hotel in Beverly Hills. They were seen leaving together, and within an hour, they arrived at his penthouse apartment. At 1 p.m., Langley opened a bottle of wine, and the two started drinking. But shortly after, something changed. Olivia sent a series of frantic messages to a friend. "He's offering me something. I think it's drugs. How do I get out of this? If anything happens, please tell someone." By 6 p.m., she was dead. What happened in those 5 hours? According to Langley, they were watching TV, and Olivia was drinking heavily. He claimed she became hyperactive, jumping on the bed, before suddenly collapsing. But if she simply collapsed, why did he wait 12 hours to call for help? A web of lies? The most damning detail wasn't just the delay in calling for help. It was what Langley did during those 12 hours. He called a friend, saying, "She's acting weird. I don't know what to do." He later contacted another acquaintance, allegedly asking them to get rid of something. Surveillance footage showed a man leaving the apartment with a small envelope, its contents unknown. Was he trying to destroy evidence? Langley insisted that Olivia brought the drugs herself. But forensic experts found no traces of drugs in her belongings, only in her system. So, how did she ingest a lethal dose? 7 months later, in March 2019, after an extensive investigation, police finally arrested Richard Langley for negligent manslaughter and drug distribution. In court, he denied everything. "She was drinking too much. She must have had a seizure. I only gave her medicine from her own bag," he claimed. But prosecutors had another theory. They believed Langley had coerced Olivia into taking drugs, possibly without her knowledge, and when she overdosed, he waited too long to seek help. choosing instead to clean up the scene and eliminate evidence. But could they prove it? Was this truly a tragic accident, or was Langley hiding something more sinister? Despite the overwhelming circumstantial evidence, the case against Richard Langley proved to be difficult to prosecute. There was no direct proof that he had forced Olivia Harris to take drugs. The key witness, a male acquaintance Langley had spoken to about something strange that night, claimed in court that he did not remember the details of their conversation. The defense argued that Olivia took the drugs willingly, and that Langley had no responsibility for her overdose. But the prosecution fought back. Olivia Harris was robbed of her life in an instant. She did not consent to this. She had no way of escaping. The prosecutor declared, demanding a 10-year prison sentence for Langley on charges of negligent manslaughter and drug-related homicide. The verdict, justice served? When the verdict was read in July 2020, the courtroom was silent. Judge Michael Donovan declared, providing a lethal amount of drugs to another person is not only reckless but malicious. The defendant has shown no remorse, offering only illogical excuses and refusing to acknowledge his role in this tragedy. Langley was sentenced to 9 years in federal prison, just 1 year less than what the prosecution had requested. For many, it was a shocking outcome. A high-profile tax consultant, a man with a respected public image, had been convicted of a fatal crime involving drugs and a young woman he met through an exclusive dating service. The trial had exposed the dark side of power, wealth, and exploitation, a bigger problem in society. This case was not just about Richard Langley and Olivia Harris. It brought attention to a deeper issue in modern society: the danger of elite dating clubs. Wealthy older men exploiting their financial power over young women in desperate situations. The blurred lines between consent, coercion, and control in such relationships. The flaws in emergency response systems. Olivia sensed danger. She even texted for help, but it wasn't enough to save her. This case highlighted the limitations of social media as a cry for help and the need for real emergency intervention measures. In response, discussions about safety features on smartphones began to gain traction. Emergency SOS functions allowing instant calls for help. GPS tracking apps that share live locations with trusted contacts. Automatic distress signals that activate if unusual activity is detected. But one of the biggest takeaways from this case was the hidden dangers of drug use in social settings. A painful lesson for society. This case became a painful reminder of how one night can turn deadly. Recreational drug use can have fatal consequences. Anyone can become a victim, even those who try to escape. We must do more to protect vulnerable individuals in high-risk situations. While Richard Langley serves his sentence, Olivia Harris will never get a second chance. Was justice truly served? Or was the punishment too lenient for a crime that cost a life? What do you think? Let us know in the comments below. If you want to hear more shocking true crime cases, make sure to like and subscribe. See you in the next video.